I love the channel Only Logical. It's a really, really good channel. He talks about all of the divestors throughout history. Some that I've never known, and interestingly enough, these days I'm going back into old movies, and as a kid, I never watched westerns, so because my mother was straight Christian and she didn't like any violent stuff in her house, and there was no way me and my brother could have a toy gun, none of that stuff. And that's going to be a whole nother video topic about how black people need this to respect and embrace the Second Amendment and stop acting like guns are so bad. They're just tools, and if you teach your children properly about them, it won't be something, because whatever you try to keep your kids away from, they're going to eventually get it once they get old enough. You know what I'm saying? So, but anywho, there was this divester. She's still in my neighborhood. I've known her for over 20 years. I'm not going to get into all of our interactions, which have been wild to say the least, but is always very similar stories. I'm beginning to notice this. Like, you remember the radical home goddess? You remember that name? Right? Another failed swirler that became pro-black, and Minister Farrakhan, and all of that nonsense. And I believe if I could show my mother her picture, I believe that this woman actually stayed in our house. I really, really do believe that. And that would be a really, really, really amazing. And me and her had a little interaction. I may be wrong, but she looks familiar. My mother took in a black woman that had a son, and I believe that's her. I've been thinking about that for years. So I may take a picture of her and show her to my mother. But this swirler in my city, very, very similar story. It's funny how a lot of these swirlers love to marry the small hat guys. I've noticed that they for some strange reason, the small hat guys just love them chocolate bunnies, man. They love that chocolate sex. They love that, man. And I can't tell everything about her, but to make a long story short, her one and only husband. And she told me he passed away. He made a couple of daughters with her, and she told me that he, as her husband, she had to obey him, and that he commanded her to, you know, share with his friends. And that's as far as I'm gonna go on YouTube. And he'd be in these arrangements like, two guys, one girl. So you know what I'm saying? And she told me all of she did everything in every area. And I was just really amazing. I knew her because I think me and her worked together over 20 something years ago. And over time, because I've told you that people trust me and they tell me everything about themselves, that's exactly what happened. And he would call her, the N word when he was angry, the M word too, and stuff like that. And he died, and her life is a mess. I'm not going to get into it. And ever since then, she's been doing a reach back. And she recently reached back with me, and we, a long time ago, almost went there in the primitive way, but it didn't happen. It's a long, funny story that I won't put out there. But she came to my house, trench coat, and she knocked on my door because we lived in the same block. And she came in. I'm like, "What are you doing here?" And she opened her trench coat. She was completely naked, and it almost happened. But then somebody else intervened. It's a really funny story. I'm glad that I'm glad the person intervened. Just no. So she tried me one time, and then here she is all these years later. This was last month. She tried me again. I was in our local supermarket. I haven't seen her in a long time. Hey, how you doing? And you know what happened between us. I said what almost happened. Yeah, that was almost 20 years ago, and you know I've been liking you. Yeah, she's been telling me for years that she likes me and stuff like that, but the answer is no. She's literally 10 years older than me, and she's a I can't even call her. Yeah, well, yeah, she's a ex-swirler. She gave up on that after her husband died. She went straight back to us, and she had like at least two dudes. One of them died, and the other one, I don't know what the hell happened to him. And this is what she does. She's always in the hunt for a new black man. And I was in our supermarket, and she was like, "Hey, hey, I haven't seen you in months, and what's going on?" And then we were talking, making small talk, and she just comes out and she says, "You know what's going on." I said, "What? You know I've been wanting you for years." Yeah, I know. Every time she see me, she'd tell me, and I'd be like, I was with my son's mother at some of those times, and I was always just like, no, no, come on, girl, no, right? I know your history. No, just keep it moving, right? So they're always doing the reach back, man. All you brothers, beware of the reach back. Why would you, even as first of all, before I became an Israelite, I have always believed, religion, no religion, that my woman is mine. I'm not sharing. So a lot of these white males that go after black women, they're always degrading them sexually. They're always asking them to do things in the bed that even I wouldn't think of. Like, seriously? You're gonna let your friends come over and play with your wife? Like, that's weird to me. And it's funny how these swirlers, they never say no, right? They never say no. But yet I've been noticing a pattern, closing it out. A lot of these swirlers on this channel right here, Only Logical. I remember my ex came into a lot of money in 1 year, like two different settlements. And when we were living with each other, I was pretty much, I had like it was something like I had only like a part-time job. And I was trying to get a full-time job. And I actually had an interview, and the guy offered me the job, but the job was literally very much out of my area. I didn't have a car at the time. You know what I'm saying? So I said, "Hey, um, I'm trying to get this job." It was like a factory job. I was like, it would really do us really good, me making more money, having a full-time job, whatever. And I will never forget her words to me. She said, "Some things you just have to be a man about it." I said, "Oh, really?" So here I am paying bills, taking care of me and my son, and some things you have to be a man about it. She gets her money, she's taking her family out to eat all the time, and she's buying herself all and her and her sister's clothes and all kind of her mother shit. And I'm just sitting there. I didn't get a dime from them. And I'm telling you, a lot of black women are horrible. They really are. And they're evil at this point. If I'm not talking about you, I'm not talking about you. But a lot of them are evil. They are no good to us. This drizzle thing is a good thing. But when you see these swirlers, Brad can have absolutely zero, and Keisha will give up damn near her last dime because he asked. All the things, and I back in those days, all I wanted was like a $3,000 for her to give me like $3,000 to get some basic cars so I can get back and forth to work, and she told me no. But if Brad would have asked her for all of her money, she would have said yes. This is why I don't know why you dudes are still dealing with Keisha in 2024. I don't get it. I don't see any value in that nonsense. Black men have been programmed to be the conquistadors for black American women, and y'all gotta let that shit go.